Welcome to the John DeVito Show. Today, we are going to tackle the topic of self esteem. Self esteem is very important in life. We all have to believe in ourselves, we all have to feel confident. And if we don't, it makes it very difficult to be happy, to feel fulfilled, to really succeed in anything we do in our life. Self esteem is very, very important. And I believe a lot of us struggle with it. Now, again, I'm a little bit older in my life right now, 56 years old. I had to work a good portion of my life to have positive self esteem. There were times when I was younger where maybe it seemed like I had high self esteem, but really I was just overcompensating for insecurity and having lower self esteem. So it's sometimes kind of hard to tell when you look at someone as to whether they are confident in themselves, if they're insecure. But I think it's generally safe to say that pretty much everyone has insecurities, and everyone has periods of time in their life when they are struggling with confidence, with believing in themselves, and just feeling good about the person that they are, the abilities that they have, and really it can be difficult. It can be a very difficult thing to address within yourself and to really self-assess where you are and where you're struggling and things like that. So I guess before we get started, one of the things we could talk about is the actual definition of self-esteem. So self-esteem refers to the degree in which we evaluate ourselves in a positive way. It represents how much we like or value ourselves, and it is often based on comparisons with others. And I think that's true. It's one of those things where everything in our life can affect the way we feel about ourselves. If you are raised in a family where maybe your parents are critical, where you maybe don't like the way you look, maybe you go into school and you get bullied and you have a hard time making friends. I mean, there are so many things. Maybe you're not good at athletics. So there are so many things that can play into a person's insecurity and their lack of self-esteem. And it's important, I think, to come up with a strategy in order to improve that. So, there are so many things we can work on, and there are so many things that I think can lower self-esteem as well. We just talked about a few of them, but honestly, there are many different factors that lower your self-esteem. Those factors might be things like people in your life or your environment or your mindset. Understanding what causes your self esteem to drop helps you make an action plan on how you will help it thrive and build your self awareness. Self awareness is so important. You have to become self aware. We can talk about that also. Perhaps you're unsure about what factors we're talking about. So, to give you a better idea, we're going to go through some things that can cause you to maybe have low self-esteem. Now, the first one on the list is something I mentioned a little bit earlier, and it's very important. Abuse. Abuse is tough. Abuse and difficult relationships with your parents, either during your childhood or maybe even your adulthood, sometimes that carries right into adulthood, can harm your self-esteem. Research has found that physical and emotional abuse by parents or other adults is a major factor in low self-esteem. And I can't say that enough. And I think for people that grow up in difficult homes and have abusive relationships with their parents, sometimes they feel like they're alone. Sometimes they feel like they're the only one in the world that's experiencing this. Those people would be very surprised to know that a lot of people out there deal with very difficult home lives. And I think it's helpful for people to know that you're not alone in this battle. There are other people that understand what you're going through and have been what you're going through, and they've been through it. So abuse is tough, but it's something I think that does affect your self-esteem. And if you're looking to improve your self-esteem going forward and having more confidence, you have to, I think, listen to yourself and validate your feelings regarding the abuse that maybe happened in your childhood or even your adulthood. I mean, who knows? It can happen really at any time. And it doesn't have to necessarily be with your parents. It could be in a relationship that you've had with someone where they've been abusive. I mean, it takes away your confidence. It takes away your dignity. and it chips away at your self-esteem. So I think another thing, and this is a really good one, mindset. You really have to get up every day and decide what type of mindset you're going to be in. And there are days where it's much harder than others to have that positive mindset. So a pessimistic attitude and a fixed mindset lower self-esteem because it overwhelms your mind with negative thoughts. You're reminded that you aren't good enough or that nothing positive will ever happen to you, and your confidence is going to suffer. Naturally, it will. I mean, if you wake up every day and you think bad things are going to happen, you're not going to get that break at work, that person's not going to like you, you just have nothing to offer the world, it becomes a very difficult thing to deal with. Trying to have that positive or optimistic mindset is so very important. So, one of the things I try to think about is when I wake up in the morning, everyone gets up and, it's a Monday morning, you roll out of bed, oh God, I've got a long week of school or a long week of work. And sometimes it's difficult to come to terms with that. But I think when you wake up and you decide, I'm going to have a good day today, I'm going to be happy today, I'm going to make things happen today, and anything that's presented to me, I can do it. And try to really have that positive mindset. I think that really helps you to improve your self esteem. Mindset's very important. Life events. Now, that's another one on the list that I think is important. While some life events uplift you, others lower your self esteem. An example is if you're taking a hard course in school and have failed a few assignments, you start criticizing yourself and the opinion your accomplishments are poor. Graduating from school, changing jobs, or moving cities could also affect you personally. So, big life events matter. If you're in a relationship and you get into a big fight, or if you're splitting up from somebody, um, again, that the example with hard courses. I mean, you could fail a course. Maybe you're used to getting straight A's. All of a sudden, you get a C. Those things can affect your self esteem. But I think one of the things that helps you is number one, you have to consider that mindset that we talked about in the last subject we were talking about. But on top of that, you've got to add a little bit of grit into your life. We're all going to face challenges in our life, and we've all got to learn that not everything is always going to be rosy. Not everything is going to be easy. And we have to learn how to dig in our heels and have that grit and resolve to move forward and continue to improve. But life events, I mean, they're going to happen to all of us. They just do. You might lose a job that you love, but we've got to find a way to get through these events and not let it just destroy our self-esteem in the process. And I know it's a lot of times it sounds easy to say and it's more difficult to do, which is true. But it's something that I think if we all work at it, we can improve in these areas. And when you have a big life event, you have to learn how to roll with it. One thing that's inevitable, I think, in life is change. We're always going to experience change, and we've got to learn to kind of roll with it. I know I was very resistant to change earlier in my life, and as I've gotten older, I've actually kind of learned to embrace it because I haven't had a choice. And you can either let it run you over and destroy you, or you can embrace it and try to just get better, when these life events happen and hope that it all happens for a reason. And in the end, you're going to be in a better place because of the life event or change. All right, social standards. This is a big one. One survey of college freshmen found that 65% of them said they base their self-worth on their appearance. External sources like approval of others and body image cause your self-esteem to lower at any time, and it might be difficult to regain it. It's true. I mean, we are a society that values things that are appealing to the eye. And it's very, very difficult where now we are in the society with social media, with all these places where you can compare yourself to other people and you're expected to look great all the time. It's a very difficult thing to deal with. And it is something that is really, I definitely think that the internet has made this entire thing worse because that was something that didn't exist when I was a kid. But I think honestly, with however you look, whether you are a, complete 10 fashion model, or if you're just a regular person or someone that maybe you consider not to be, the most attractive person in the world, that is not what's most important in life. And you've got to learn to look in the mirror and whatever you are, whatever you look like, own who you are, and be happy with the person that looks back at you in the mirror. God's made only one of you, and He's done it for a reason. He believes in you, and even though it's hard sometimes, where some people seem like they have it all, and you feel like you're struggling, but I think in general, we're all harder on ourselves than we need to be when it comes to appearance, because honestly, appearance is nice, but when it comes to a true successful friendship or a true successful relationship, it's nice to have someone that's pleasing to look at, but it's more important to have someone that cares about you and someone that you care about and someone that you can really look in their soul and they can look in yours and you realize you have a deeper connection than just looks. It's so very important. So social standards, they're tough. And I think it's more difficult when you're younger because there's such an emphasis on wearing the right clothes, looking the right way, doing the right things. And it's a very, very difficult time of your life when you're young that you don't really even sometimes realize. But I think we've got to learn to look at who we are, accept who we are, accept what we look like, and learn to be happy with the person that we are and realize that, okay, well, if I'm not going to be a Sports Illustrated swimsuit model on the cover of Sports Illustrated, that's okay. Maybe I'm going to be a doctor. Maybe I'm going to be a teacher. Maybe I'm going to be, whatever it may be, a child care worker. I mean, who cares what the job is? But it's one of those things where we can't continue to beat ourselves down for what we don't have. We have to, I think, look at ourselves and be happy with the gifts that we do have. So anyway, all right, next thing, goal setting. Goal setting is, it can be a good thing. And it is great if you know how to set them properly. When you set goals that are unattainable and unrealistic, it makes you think poorly of yourself when you don't achieve them. Even if those goals weren't achievable in the first place, your self-esteem takes a hit. So here I am, I'm 56 years old. And, I used to play football way back in the Stone Ages. And I played in college. So I think my new goal for this upcoming year is going to be, I'm going to get back in the gym. I'm going to start lifting. I'm going to get in great shape. And next season, I'm going to try out for a National Football League team and I'm going to make the NFL. Great dream. I'd love to believe it was true, but I think that if I ended up going to one practice in the NFL, literally on the first hit, my body parts would start falling off at this point. So, it's a great goal and it sounds wonderful, but chances are it's not going to happen. If you're 4'11" and you plan to play in the NBA, I mean, you might be the one in a billion that does it, but chances are, basketball at the professional level may not be in your future. So I think it's good sometimes to set goals, but sometimes it's good to have smaller, more easily attained, measurable goals in the beginning so you can achieve some success and you can move forward and hopefully continue on down the path where you build on those smaller successes. And if you continue to do that, I think it also turns into larger successes and larger goals that are being achieved. All right. So what are some of the effects of low self-esteem? They can really hurt. I mean, they can really be painful and deep. When you have low self-esteem, your mental health can suffer. Frequent negative self-talk can harm your mental health. People with poor self-esteem are very, very critical of themselves. They have difficulty moving past challenges and mistakes. And let's face it, we all make mistakes. It may lead to people isolating themselves because they want to protect their self-esteem. They neglect standing up for themselves because they'd rather stay quiet and put space between themselves and their challenges. In reality, self-imposed social isolation only hurts them more. It keeps people deep within their comfort zone inside, seeking new opportunities or hobbies, right? So it prevents a lot of good things. Low self-esteem can also contribute to depression, to anxiety, and other mental health issues. Negative ways of thinking can halt efforts to build confidence or self-worth, and negative thoughts also hinder efforts to develop a growth mindset. So, it can be really painful and really dangerous if you cannot conquer this. So let's go into some strategies that may help you improve your self-esteem. And hopefully, even if you take one or two of these and they're able to help you moving forward, then, it's a win today. So it's no easy task to build self-esteem. It's going to take work. There's no doubt about it. But achieving a healthy level of self-esteem can make a difference to your well-being. We're going to take a look at these 8 tactics that will, I think, help to boost your self-esteem. And we'll talk about some of these. And think about, if, like I said, if there's one or two maybe you could start with that will kind of help you begin this journey to better self-esteem, then it'll be a good thing for you, for me, and for everybody if we can all work to having more confidence. All right, so let's get into the list and we'll start talking about some of these things and breaking them down a little bit. All right, number one on the list is write out a list of things that you admire about yourself. And this may be a little awkward in the beginning because if you're not feeling good about yourself, you may have to dig deep to find some things that you admire about yourself. But really, take a look at some of the things you do well. If you're not an athlete, maybe you're a great writer, maybe you're a musician, maybe you're great, painting out in the woods, taking photographs, whatever it may be. But I think it's important for you to be able to sit down and come up with some traits that you admire in yourself. And don't just write any positive affirmations down. You really have to look inside yourself, look in deep, and really think about the things that you bring to the table. And everybody has positive things that they can write down. So I think by literally sitting down, spending some quiet time, reflecting on yourself, and thinking about some of the things that you bring to the table, write down what's great about yourself. Write down the things that you admire about yourself. I mean, there are so many things that maybe don't check the list in high school, but when you write down that maybe you're a kind person, you're a good friend, you loved animals. I mean, whatever it may be that you're good at and you admire, start there and start focusing on the things that you're good at and the things that are admirable about your personality. And right there, that's a good first step into starting to develop some more confidence and self-esteem in yourself. All right, number two, and this is an important one. Stop being a people pleaser. I know people that are people pleasers, and it's a very difficult thing to be because you always are going out of your way to make sure everybody else is happy, but you're not really taking time to make sure that you're happy, and that can be a really dangerous behavior. People with poor self-esteem can feel obligated to say yes to all requests. They often put helping others before their own mental health, which is a huge, huge, huge red flag. This can lead to being easily overwhelmed, whether that's at work, whether it's in your personal life, with your family. And if you do that, you're most likely causing yourself a lot of stress. It's nice to be helpful. It's nice to be a good person. It's nice to be supportive when you can. But your self-esteem eventually suffers when you tie your self-worth to how much you do for others. You have to learn how to say no. And sometimes you have to learn how to just take care of number one. Because if you don't take care of number one, you're not going to be good for anybody else. So stop being a people pleaser is very important in this process. Number three, stepping outside of your comfort zone. Those with self-esteem tend to avoid challenges and new opportunities. This can be due to fears of self-doubt, fear of failure, but when you succeed in any big or even small way, you show yourself that you can persevere through rough moments. Stepping outside of your comfort zone doesn't mean that you have to throw yourself into a highly uncontrollable situation. It means you're willing to try new things, even if you enter difficult situations. And this, I know, can be a very scary thing. I've been through it many times in my life. There are things that I've wanted to do that I didn't have the confidence to do or feel that I would be good enough to do these things. And you have to be willing to rally yourself, dig down deep into the basement, find some confidence, and really look to grow yourself as a person by stepping outside of that comfort zone and trying new things. And again, like you said, it doesn't have to be this dramatic big thing. It could be something small. But when you have those small victories, that helps build your confidence and your self-esteem. Number four, and this is, again, they're all important, but this is another good one. Stop comparing yourself to others. I did this for many years, and the whole keeping up with the Joneses type of thing is a waste of time and energy. You cannot compare yourself to other people. You are not in a race against your best friend. You're not in a race against your spouse. You're not in a race against anybody. In this life, you're in a race against yourself. If you can improve yourself daily, weekly, monthly, whatever, then you are moving forward. You are improving yourself. You are growing as a person. And what other people are doing, really is irrelevant. I mean, there's always going to be someone that is maybe better in school than you are. There's always going to be someone that is a better football player than you are. There's always going to be someone that is maybe a more dynamic speaker than you are, or a better writer than you are, or a more talented musician than you are. So if you're always comparing yourselves to what other people have, that person has a bigger house, they have a nicer car, they have more money. It may not even be true when you're feeling that way, but the more you do that, the more you're beating yourself down and the more you are affecting your own self esteem. So stop comparing yourself to other people. Worry about yourself, compare to yourself only. And if someone out there maybe is doing better than you in something else, instead of being judgmental and angry at that person for being successful, learn from them. Look at these people that have achieved more than you have and learn from them. Learn what they've done to be more successful in a given field, and then use some of their strategies to help yourself become better. I always say that there's plenty of abundance in this world. If someone's really successful in something, you don't have to be jealous. You don't have to be, I don't know, just angry at them if you feel that they're more successful. But I do think that you have the ability to learn and grow from those people without being intimidated, angry, and jealous of them. So stop comparing yourself to other people, work on yourself, and keep your focus there. And if someone else is doing great, good for them. Congratulations. Be happy for them. It's a wonderful thing when people are successful and have achieved good things, because in my life, that makes me feel that if they can do it, you know what? I can do it too if I believe. And I think that that's something we can all do if we look at it the right way. All right. Number 5, forgive yourself for your past thoughts. That's interesting. So, as you work to build your self esteem, you need to forgive yourself for how you've treated yourself before. You can't move forward with your progress without accepting that you used to judge yourself and others harshly. It's a very hard habit to break. Acknowledging this weakness exercises self compassion and resilience by helping to see yourself clearly. You're building a more solid foundation when you choose to have a healthier relationship with yourself. So you have to forgive yourself. You can't beat yourself into the ground. You're going to fail. You're going to make mistakes. You're not always going to be perfect. That's part of life. Learn from it, move forward, and get better as a person. And you have to give yourself a break every now and then. You can't continually kick yourself in the backside if you feel like you've made mistakes, because we all make them. And you have to get past it, move forward, accept the things you have done maybe incorrectly in your life, learn from them, move on, and be a better person going forward. That's what we all have to do. All right, number 6, set boundaries in your relationships. Think about what your boundaries are in your personal and professional life. To have higher self esteem, you need to understand what your boundaries look like and how they align with your values. Plus, you need to think about how you'll respond when people cross them, because it's going to happen, intentionally or not. It's always going to happen. Setting boundaries is a way of not letting others control or take advantage of you, and practicing assertiveness. And I know some of us struggle with being assertive, and sometimes we just have to be, because there are people out there that will take advantage of you, and they will take, and they won't give back. So you have to learn how to sometimes be assertive and say no and establish those boundaries with people that are maybe taking advantage of your friendship. So, learning how to set boundaries at work may look different than in your personal life. You can mute notifications when the workday ends to maintain your work-life balance, but you can't avoid your friends when you don't know how to be firm with them. Be patient and be honest. And I think that that's something that's really important. Truly good friends are going to understand when you're saying that you need to take a step back and take a break. And people that aren't willing to listen to that, and people that aren't willing to hear that, maybe aren't your good friends, and you have to find people that are more accepting of who you are. All right, number 7, celebrate your wins. There is nothing wrong with this. Victories comes in all sizes, and you should celebrate them all. Did you practice some positive self-talk today? Maybe you had a good day. You were optimistic. You were telling yourself that you were proud of yourself. You did some good things. You were assertive today. You set boundaries, whatever it may be. But you have to celebrate these small wins when they happen. Did you banish some negative beliefs or face one of your fears? Acknowledging those feelings of confidence and pride and embrace them. Help your self-confidence grow and show you that building self-esteem helps you feel more comfortable with yourself, right? Celebrate the wins. Be proud of yourself. Don't minimize the good things that you do, even if they're seemingly small victories. You have to celebrate. You have to be happy, and you have to be proud of those wins that you have. Number 8, this is a tough one. Sometimes you have to let go of negative people. If it's one thing to let go of negative thoughts, but have you thought about letting go of negative people? This the people you surround yourself with have a big impact on your mood and level of self-esteem. If people constantly remind you of your flaws, make fun of your mistakes, or fill you with self-doubt, you'll have poor self-esteem. But letting these influences go will allow more positive encouragement and kinder thoughts to help grow your self esteem. And once you identify someone's toxic traits, it's really hard to see past them. So, hopefully, this list gives you some ideas as to things you can do to maybe help your self esteem. We all battle it. I'm guilty of it. I think everybody is. And I think there should be no shame in feeling sometimes that you are insecure, that you don't have everything figured out, that you need some positive reinforcement. But I think by using these 8 steps, I think you can really build on your confidence, build on the type of person that you want to be, and start to feel a little bit more confident inside. Okay, so I hope this podcast helped you. This read was very good to me, and I am always looking for ways to improve myself. So I'm trying to do a few of these podcasts that help people, as opposed to just getting on and doing political podcasts, etc. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I appreciate each and every one of you that listens to my show. Thank you very much from the John DeVito Show. I love all of you, and God bless. Take care.